Title: Entitled Mother-in-Law Demands We Pay for Our Brother-in-Law's Lifestyle Choices. This is going to be a long story, so ask your forgiveness in advance. Also excuse my grammar as English is not my first language. Note equals I am not making this up and all of it is 100% true, so please don't comment on how this cannot be possible as I am already aware how crazy this can sound. I am posting this here and now because this was the first time my husband ever permitted me to do so. I on the other hand come from a middle-class family, as in could attend college and even have a master's degree, but nothing super fancy. We were married, arranged marriage, when I was 24 and he was 25. Before our marriage all my husband's salary went directly to his family, that means 7 years of income people, a major part of which actually went to his brother-in-law as he was too special to find a job, also could not keep one for longer than a year. When I came to my husband's house my brother-in-law already had 4 children with his wife pregnant with the 5th. My brother-in-law's credit was a mess as he had taken multiple loans for funding his alcoholic, holier-than-thou lifestyle and my husband was a complete pushover with no spine of his own to speak up for himself. It took me 2 years and a toddler, blessed with a baby boy, to force him to grow a spine as now he had a family of his own and he needed to care for it. I had to make him understand that he can no longer send 90% of our income to his brother and force us to brink of bankruptcy as his brother cannot afford his own lifestyle. Slowly my husband stopped sending them any money as his parents had enough income to maintain themselves and it was high time for his brother to get of his lazy and do some SHT. Main story. Now this is the main event that took place about 5 years ago, when my husband was 30, that forced us to go no contact with my in-laws and a major part of my husband's family. My brother-in-law now had 5 children, blessed with all girls, was on brink of bankruptcy and had already used a major part of the inheritance that he was going to be passed down from his parents. This interaction took place on my first 2 nieces' wedding. They had a joint wedding and reception as brother-in-law didn't have the money for 2 separate weddings. M.H. You should start helping your brother again as he is having a lot of troubles with funds lately. H. We are in a pretty tight spot ourselves, mom, especially with Ellen, me, pregnant with the 2nd child. S. Well then you should help your brother even more as you know what it feels like to be with a pregnant woman. After all we are also expecting. Me, what? You are pregnant again, my actual words. M. What do you mean daughter-in-law, aren't you happy? It can actually be a boy this time. Not everyone is as lucky as you, who gets a boy on the first chance. Me, flabbergasted, WTF are you talking about? I won't treat a daughter any differently than a son. S. Well you can say that since you already have a son. H. I don't care about Eb's and S's lifestyle choices but I can't share any more money with them, as I have my own family now and we need to save to buy a house, start son's college fund etc. M. You don't have any right to speak about your brother like that. He is trying to improve, a lie. He also has responsibilities. Me, laughing, right. As if he knows what responsibilities are. S. UBTCH. Her actual words. You dare speak about my husband like that? Everyone was now looking at us. She gets into my face and actually tries to punch a very pregnant me, stopping her mid-air. You dare. She is pregnant and even if she was not, how could you think that you can punch her? Me, shocked plus angry. We shall leave now, I don't think we are welcome in this wedding anymore. Husband follows me without speaking any other thing. We got many vile and abusive messages and even threats from his side of the family on how we spoiled our niece's marriage and how family always comes first. Fortunately we had never given my in-laws our address and even if they could get it somehow no one would have had the money for the plane ticket as we lived at the geographically opposite corner of the country at that time. Also we have shifted twice since then and have blocked out most of his side of family, leaving out some of his sensible cousins and uncle, aunts etc. and informed everyone on my side of the family plus our friends to maintain absolutely no contact with them. Try to physically assault when told no. Edits edit. Thanks you all for all the support. It made our day. Also thanks for all the awards, love you all. Open mouth smile edit 2. Here are the answers to a lot of the common questions asked. 1. Yes, I am from Asia. 2. The sixth child was actually a boy, thank God, or I don't know till how long they would have continued. 3. Also thanks to all who are praising my English, I love a self-esteem boost. 4. I am not child-free, but I actually support that kind of lifestyle as a choice if it makes you happy. I love my children and will do anything for them, but I also like the idea of having totally no responsibilities of another human being upon yourself, so I support it. Thanks again for all the support and awards, you all are amazing people. Title: M thinks her kid shouldn't have to pick up after their dog, relents and then steals from us, so this happened at the last apartment complex I lived in. Sorry it's so long. My so and I were renting a ground floor unit at a really nice apartment complex. I wouldn't say it was a luxury apartment or anything, but our ground floor unit had a little patio off the back that led out into a really nice courtyard area with hammocks, a walking path, outdoor fireplace, seating area, etc. A lot of people walk their dogs out there or let their kids play out in the grass, including us. We have a 1-year-old cane corso. We got her when we'd been living in the unit for about 2.5 months and she was only 8 weeks at the time. She's a really good dog and we trained her well. We could let her out to go potty and she'd come right back even if there were distractions, people, dogs out. We always stood on the patio and watched her anyways because our pet agreement said we couldn't leave our dog unattended. Then we'd go pick up her poop right away if she pooped, also part of the pet agreement, as I'm sure is standard at most apartment complexes. We kept a small step trash can outside specifically for her poop bags because we didn't want to throw them away inside, and the only outside trash cans were on the other side of the building, which I agree is super dumb. It really was a small trash can, like the kind you'd tuck into the bathroom between the toilet and the wall. We also had her poop bags hanging on our patio door handle for easy access so we didn't have to hunt for them every time we needed them. M and her EK moved in on the ground floor in our building, 2 units down from us. No biggie. We ran into her one day carrying in groceries and my so held open the door for her. She seemed kind of Karen-ish but was polite, and her kid, probably 10 to 11 years old, didn't look up from his phone. Whatever, that's pretty typical of kids these days. They also had a dog, a little black and white fluffy thing, super cute but not trained very well. Don't know what kind of dog, but it was much smaller than our already giant puppy. After about 2 weeks or so, we realized that there were dog turds in the grass right off our patio. We found out the hard way because my boyfriend stepped in it the first time. Luckily he wasn't barefoot. They were clearly not our dog's turds as one. We always picked up her poop right after she went and too. They were very obviously from a small dog, not our 70-pound puppy. We'd been in the apartment about 7 to 8 months at that point and had never had an issue with this, so we figured it was M's little dog. I wrote her a polite note that basically was like, "Hey neighbor. We noticed that some of your dog's poops aren't being picked up and are right off our patio. Per the pet agreement we all have to sign, we all need to be picking up our own dog's poop each time they go. I'm sure it was an accident and you just didn't notice, so if you could make sure to do that going forward we'd appreciate it. Your neighbors in unit hash." She wasn't home, so I slipped it under the door and went back to my apartment. A couple hours later M is banging on my door and gets really angry with me, insists that it couldn't have been her dog and how dare I assume. I felt really bad and I apologized immediately, said I didn't mean to offend her and it must have been someone else. She told me never to bother her with crap like this again, and stormed off. I was like, okay. Not 3 days later, I was sitting on my patio with a book enjoying the cool weather when I see their little dog run out of their back door, no one with it, and it comes over to me. I said hello to the pup, BCUZ I love pups, and then it took a shit right off patio, ran back home and scratched the door to be let in. I saw EK slide the door open enough to let the dog in and then closed it again without coming outside to pick up the poop. I was annoyed because here I saw it with my own eyes that it was their dog and no one was even watching it when it was outside. So I grabbed a poop bag, picked up the poop, wrote another less polite note about M's kid neglecting to watch the dog or come to check if it had poop, pick up after it, and dropped the poop bag and the note on their patio right by the door, then went back to my reading. M was quicker to come by this time and stomped right up to me, waving the note around. Then stated that her kid was just a kid and probably just forgot to check. I said I didn't care, her kid was old enough to stand outside for 3 minutes and come pick up the dog's poop. She said well there's no poop bags, trash cans on this side of the building and she didn't feel comfortable making her kid walk all the way around the building for that. The next part is my own fault, in hindsight. I suggested she put a trash can like mine on her patio and leave their own poop bags handy like we do for our dog. She eyed our stuff, huffed some more, rolled her eyes, refused to do anything about the poop and walked off. At this point I was super annoyed. I stalked my patio door for the next couple days as much as I could, just waiting. And sure enough on day 2 in the evening when I was about to give up, I see the puppy run outside towards my patio. I whipped out my phone, took some pictures of the dog outside alone, not allowed, and the dog pooping and then took another phone an hour later of the poop still there and time-stamped all of them. Then I sent an email to the apartment office people who were always pretty nice and they responded quickly they would give M a warning about it. And sure enough M comes back again, to get mad and yell at me about how petty I was to report them to the office and now they had a $150 fine for not picking up their dog poop. It's worth noting that these fines were rare. Poo prints were not used at this complex. In order for the office to fine someone for dog poop they had to have proof it was that specific tenant's dog's poop and that it wasn't picked up. Hence the photos I'd taken and timestamped. I told her that I had tried to be nice about it with her twice before and it was her own fault at that point for not abiding by the terms of the pet agreement we all had to sign, everyone who had a dog at least. She went off about how she's a single mom and she works during the day and her precious baby can't be expected to pick up after their dog. I told her that a 10-11-year-old was plenty old enough to pick up after a dog and that if they weren't responsible enough then maybe the kid shouldn't be letting the dog out at all and she should be the one to do it and maybe whoever is home with him should be looking after it. She got angry, told me I had no idea how to be a single mom, that her mom stays with him during the day and shouldn't be expected to look after her kid and her dog and she stomped off again. I expected to hear more about it but I didn't. The ironic part is I am a single mom, my kid isn't my so's and I raised him alone for 5 years before I met my so yes I do know how hard it is and I live 1,000 miles from my closest family so I never even had the luxury of being able to have my mom watch my kid. Over the next couple of weeks we didn't find any more dog turds off our patio. But we did notice our poop bags were depleting and our trash can filling up way more quickly than usual. I had my suspicions and wanted to test it. We had recently bought some small security cameras for inside of our apartment for different reasons and I had my boyfriend set one up outside on the patio. We faced it where it could see our door and trash can but didn't point to the rest of the courtyard or other people's units. We respect privacy around here. Sure enough the same evening my boyfriend set it up, I see EK walk onto our patio, take a poop bag, walk out of frame, and then come back to throw it in our trash can. Okay. Now I'm pissed but also not trying to fight this lady or her kid. So I moved the poop bags to the inside door handle. It's a glass door so you can still see them but we always lock our sliding door. Next morning, I hear someone knocking on the back patio door and I go to see EK standing there looking annoyed. I didn't open the door, I just spoke loudly enough to ask what did he need. He demanded a poop bag for his dog's poop. I said I'm sorry but these are our poop bags for our dog and they weren't free for anyone else to use. The apartment provides poop bags in a dispenser near the trash can on the other side of the building. Kid started demanding a poop bag, saying his mom told him he could use ours, slapping his hands on the glass a few times, trying to scare me? Yes, I'm so terrified of a 10-year-old boy. and finally screaming at me that he's telling his mother on me. I said fine, go ahead, I'll tell her the same thing. Sure enough, a few minutes later M is standing on my patio also demanding a poop bag for her dog's poop. I denied her a bag and asked her to please step off of my patio as she was making me feel unsafe and uncomfortable. My so wasn't home. She told me I was a bratty child, I'm 24. And she demanded I let her use my poop bags as I had already told her she could before. I said no, I told you to get some yourself and do what I do, keep them close by and put your own trash can on your own patio, not use the bags I buy with my own money for my own dog and then fill up my tiny trash can with your dog's poop. I pointed out she could use a plastic shopping bag if she didn't want to buy her own poop bags, or she could use the bags the complex provided on the other side of the building. She kept going off on me and I finally told her if she didn't leave my patio I'd call the police as she was harassing me. The apartment office was closed on Sundays and of course it was Sunday. She acted like she was going to call my bluff, but then my boyfriend got home and walked up behind me to ask what was going on, and she ended up dragging her kid away, again, leaving the poop in the grass off my patio. So once she was gone, I took another timestamp picture of the dog poop, downloaded the footage from my security camera of her kid stealing my poop bags and throwing them in my trash can, and the footage from them that morning yelling at me and demanding my bags and my denying them, and emailed all of it to the apartment management. I told them that she made me feel unsafe and uncomfortable in my own home, that she and her child felt entitled to come onto my patio and take my belongings. I also went outside, picked up her dog's poop, looked in the trash can on my patio and pulled out the bags with her dog's poop. They were significantly smaller than my dog's poops, as I'm sure any dog owners could tell the difference in poops of a 12-pound dog versus a 70-pound dog. I went and opened all the bags and dumped the poop straight on her patio right outside the door. On Monday, I heard back from the office lady who said she would take care of it. By Friday, there was a moving truck and M and her EK were moving out. Pretty sure they were evicted. After talking to some of our other, much friendlier neighbors, it turns out we weren't the only ones who had been complaining about her. They'd only lived in the complex for like 2 to 3 months before they made so many enemies they were kicked out. Sometimes I think I should feel bad for playing a part in them getting evicted, but honestly I can't bring myself to feel guilty about it. Not my fault she was a lazy entitled bitch who couldn't even be asked to get a shopping bag to pick up her dog's shit. I never heard from her about the turds I dropped on her patio, but I like to think she stepped in them without looking and knew better than to come bitch to me about it. Sorry not sorry. Also, I'm sure they were given more than a week to vacate as those are the tenancy laws here, but she packed up and left like a bat out of hell. Guess she didn't want to stay somewhere she was clearly seen as an enemy.